Good afternoon. My name's Liz Rowlinson. I'm a property journalist. I've been doing it for 20 years, and I'm here to chat to Laura Hamilton, who's been with A Place in the Sun, I think roughly the same time as me, which is roughly 9 years. So, hi, Laura.
Hi, how you doing?
Um, Good. We're going to be having a chat about what it's like being grounded from our both our normally hectic schedules. In May, every May, we're kind of jetting around the world normally in different ways, and also answer your questions. Do send in any questions you've got. There's a question mark panel facility at the side of your screen, and do ping some questions as we proceed. We have a few already. We're going to touch on the new TV series, which has just started a couple of weeks ago, and anything else that we might talk about. Laura's home in Spain, all sorts of things. So, Laura, how have you been doing in lockdown?
Oh, it's obviously it's very, very unusual being at home for the period of time we've been at home for, because as you and I both know, it's just not the norm, is it? I mean, I'm normally away at least 2 weeks a month in a different destination somewhere, helping people buy property abroad. And yeah, so I mean, I was filming in Spain 2 days before the lockdown actually happened there, which was crazy. But got back to the UK, and obviously I've got two young children, so they've been at home and I've been busy homeschooling them. But Alex, my husband, and I also own a business, which was a coffee shop and restaurant and deli. And then obviously with the lockdown and things being forced to close, we decided to turn it back into the village shop and use our suppliers to serve the community. So we very much became sort of like a mini supermarket, and we're delivering essentials and produce and now our menu, food off our menu, out to the community. So that's been very busy, to be honest. I mean, I'd like to think being at home has been relaxing, but actually it's not, because between homeschool, between the business, and then me deciding to redecorate the entire house, relaxing is probably the worst possible definition, description of what lockdown time has been for me.
Yeah, because I came to your house when you just started A Place in the Sun, which was roughly, it must have been about 8 or so years ago, and you just moved in and it was beautiful, but it's time to do it again.
Yeah. Well, we've lived in this house now because it was a 7-month renovation project when we bought the property. And so we've lived in it for almost 7 years. So I'm getting the 7-year itch,
Hmm.
not with my husband, but with the property. So,
Well,
after obviously that period of time, things do need redecorating, and I'm never around for long enough really to kind of get my teeth stuck into doing these sort of jobs. So I've made over the kitchen, including painting all the units. I mean, I love interior design. Obviously, I love property. I've been in property since I was 19. And so, the idea of buying, doing up, selling, I've never lived in a house for any more than 2 years. So this is the only house I've ever lived in for any longer than that. And I've got to say, I do miss sort of renovating, even though we renovated our coffee shop and restaurant 3 years ago. But so this has been quite a fun project, falling in love with my house again.
brilliant. And so where when you finished filming just before lockdown, were you due to go off to do? You were obviously you had trips planned all this summer, so
Yeah,
you.
so we are in the middle of filming well, we've obviously got a lot of new episodes that are in the can, so to speak, and they've started obviously going out already. The new series started on Monday, and we've got a lot kind of banked that will be going out. So in a way, that's great, because all the episodes that are going to be going out are going to be new, and we've got a lot of filming still planned to complete, which they were hoping to sort of like push out, for everyone to watch. So that's obviously been put on hold. I think myself personally, I had something like 7 episodes of Home or Away left to film, which was planned for the summer, and then I think about 17 episodes of A Normal Place in the Sun. So quite a lot of filming left to do. But as I said, it's all sort of been parked for the time being, and Nobody knows, do they? I mean, we're all in the same boat. When you can travel again, I can travel again. You know, we're in the same situation. And the great thing is, from what I'm hearing from the producers of the show, we're still getting loads of people applying because they want to buy property abroad. And I think once we're out of this situation, people are going to want to get out and, you know, go abroad more so than possible.
Yeah, we're seeing massive interest on the website for people to find a property, move abroad full time. Obviously, with the the Brexit deadline at the end of the year, there's an added reason. So, tell me about the TV series that you did film. You were in, I think I saw you in Tenerife last week.
Oh yes,
Was that right?
yeah. Well, that episode in Tenerife was filmed last year. So all the new series that's going out is sort of being filmed over the last year or so. But we never know which order they're going to transmit the show in. So, you know, that episode that I filmed in Spain prior to lockdown happening might be on in this series. We just don't know. It sort of depends on where the channel wants to show destinations. And yeah, the Tenerife episode that I filmed, I've been out there a few times this year. I love Tenerife, actually. Yeah, it's some really, really beautiful parts of Tenerife. So that one was a Paul and Catherine that was on Tuesday, and they didn't buy, and I was a bit disappointed they didn't buy. However, a lot of people are buying right now, more so than ever. And I know that I've experienced that. The other presenters are sort of saying they're putting more offers in than ever before. But, you know, if people don't want to buy, there is absolutely no pressure, you know, on them. It's a huge thing, and it has to be right for them. We're there to guide them along the way and show them the best that's available on the market at the time. And, you know, if it's not right for them, it's not right for them. But I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was a little bit frustrated when they don't put an offer in, because it's really exciting.
You've got quite a Spanish, I'm going to ask you to tell me where we're going to be seeing you on the episodes going out, but I think you've got quite a Spanish flavour, and I do kind of bracket you with Spanish. We had a question, do you get to choose where you go or not?
No, I don't get to choose where I go. And I'd say that I spent a lot of the summer in France last year. So, but I do spend a lot of time in Spain, some of the Canary Islands, Balearic Islands, but predominantly mainland Spain. I mean, they are the shows that people, that's, you know, the #1 place where people want to buy. So, you know, they're the shows that always rate really well. I think less people are now wanting to buy further afield, even though we do still occasionally film in you know, far-flung places. Really, it's places closer to home that are more accessible, that people want to buy and want to watch. So I don't think that's a bad thing that I'm associated with Spain. I mean, I guess owning a property there as well, a family home there, it kind of makes me feel like, well, especially when we film around that part, where our family home is, which is on the Costa del Sol near Puerto Banús, in a place called San Pedro Alcantara. You know, I feel at home. I know it. I know. I really feel like when I talk to the people. I mean, obviously, I know lots of other parts of Spain too, but I really do feel at home there.
Brilliant. And yeah, because when I interviewed you years ago, and you were doing episodes in the Caribbean, and you were, you know, there was a real mixture, wasn't there? But you're completely right. It's sort of, the world has sort of got smaller in some ways, and it's probably going to happen even more now, isn't it? With the how do you think air travel is going to impact, you know, people buying in Spain, etc.?
What do you mean? The people not being able to travel as easily? Or?
I mean, at the moment, you know, they obviously can't travel, but I mean, it's inevitably going to get a bit more expensive, a bit more hassly.
Well,
Might go.
France and Spain, you can drive there. You know, you don't necessarily have to get on a plane if you don't want to, or you know, and then once you're there in your car, you've got your car to drive around. So yeah, these places are accessible by car should you want to travel that way. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with air travel, and how do they deal with the fact, like, social distancing on an aircraft, you know, because yeah, it will become more expensive because they'll be able to sell less seats, or I mean, all these questions that are in our minds that we just don't know. But I try to always think, well, if that happens, let's think of the alternatives. And the alternatives are, well, we can drive there.
Mm.
Something
Have you ever?
actually we did at Christmas, because at Christmas my son got chicken pox for the second time, and it was, we were due to go there for New Year, and airline policy is you can't travel until 14 days after the spots have cleared up, or 7 days with some airlines. And it was just like, oh no, we can't believe. So we actually looked at driving, as an option. We actually didn't need to in the end, because we pushed our flights back, and it timed it that it was after and we were only going for 4 days. So I think if if you're obviously going to your holiday home in France or Spain for 4 days, well then, does it make sense to drive? You need to be going there for a couple of weeks at least to make it worth your while driving. But amazing thing to do. I mean, I've driven a lot of France. I've obviously driven a lot of Spain with the show, traveling around, filming, and
Mhm.
an amazing way to see the country, to get in the car and drive. So I wouldn't rule that out at all. And
No,
maybe that's
actually,
something the show will do, actually. You never know. They might well say, well, we want to pick up filming again. Air travel's really expensive. We'll send crews, in a van, and replace in the Sun tour bus, and off we go.
sounds fun. We're gonna run a quick poll about where people listening are looking to buy a property. Is it Spain? Is it France? Or is it Portugal? Or one of the others? I mean, we've got Cyprus, Italy, Greece, Florida, very popular, but the three biggies at the moment seem to be Spain, France, Portugal. And the last time we ran it, I think Spain was 68. And I'm thinking that's looking pretty similar from the poll results coming in. Yes,
Wow.
Spain is 70%. That's pretty consistent, actually. And but I mean, we are probably talking a lot about Spain anyway today.
I'm
So
surprised at France. I'm surprised
yes,
France is higher. Because normally France rates as like number two, doesn't it? As in,
yeah,
places of popularity to buy, and then Portugal three. But maybe that's changing. And when I speak to people, they do say, oh, why don't you film more in Portugal? We'd like to see more of Portugal. So again, that might be somewhere that we visit a bit more. I think Bulgaria was on the list of places that we were going to
yeah.
be filming. Quite a few more episodes in, because there seems to be a sparked interest in that. So
Yeah, it might come back. But I mean, I think you've been in Mijas Costa. Is that where you've been filming another place? I mean, that's not far from where your home is. Tell us what did you, how do you find that? It's a very popular destination.
Mijas Costa is, it can get very, very busy. It's quite a tourist. Mijas Pueblo. So you've got the kind of the best of both worlds there, because you've got the old town sort of up in the hills, whitewashed buildings, cobbled streets. Mijas is quite famous for the donkeys that are up there, and there's sort of a bit of controversy because of how they're treated. So we try not to feature them too much on the show, but they are there and people go to see them. So you've got Mijas Pueblo, which is kind of the traditional whitewashed village, as I say, and then you've got Mijas Playa, which is the beach. So kind of best of both worlds. And it's not cheap because of how close it is, to Marbella, but it is obviously cheaper than that. So you're working your way up, you're up the coast. You're slightly closer to the airport than you would be if you were down near Port-au-Prince. And if you're like me and you like to hit the slopes, well, you're close to the ski slopes there as well, because that's what I love about where we are in Spain. You really have the best of both worlds: the mountain, the Sierra Nevada mountains, and then the beach as well, where we are. So Mijas Costa, we've filmed quite a bit in, I've offered on quite a few properties there, and I actually got a message from one of the people that I filmed with, must have been about 18 months ago, not only a couple of weeks ago, saying, oh, we're loving the show, currently watching from our home in Mijas. So they made a permanent relocation. So that's nice, people keep in touch and send me pictures sometimes of what they've done to the property since they bought it, and it's good.
Brilliant. And what I mean, I think they had a budget of about 100,000 in Mijas. I might be
Oh,
wrong.
were you talking about the two ladies?
Yeah. I think I'm not. I just know that quite a couple of them in the new Spanish ones you're doing. It's been around about 100,000, and I'm thinking, what can you get for that on the on the Costa del Sol? Because a lot of people think that they might be priced out of that market.
Well, that is a really tough budget around that area. It really is. I mean, I filmed most recently in Mijas with two sisters, and their budget was £150,000. Little bit on the coast, sort of more Fuengirola area, and they had £150,000, and they wanted a 2-bedroom apartment with sea views, within walking distance to the beach, and it was like, this is just not possible. I mean, Fuengirola as a town is actually, I'd say it's quite up and coming. It's used to be one of the cheaper towns, but it's not anymore. It's got a really nice theatre there. If you you like a bit of culture, I've just got a mosquito flying around. Yeah, there's a few lovely like tapas bars and restaurants. The beach is really nice. So we did have to give them a bit of a reality check and say, do you know what, this is not possible what you're looking for. And sometimes when you tell people that, they are a little bit like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean we can't? It's like, we can't, we find the best properties that we can, but we can't make miracles happen. And property prices are going up. People are buying more abroad than they are in the UK, I think, or have been. So I think £100,000 budget around Mijas Costa is extremely tight. If I'm thinking in my head, someone's wanting 2-bed, beachfront, maybe a studio, maybe a 1-bedroom apartment. It's I think you need to be pushing your budget up for something decent anyway. For something decent, you need to be spending a bit more.
And do you think with your property hunters you meet that being unrealistic about with their budget of what they can get, is that the most common thing that you have to deal with, or not really knowing what they want is equally?
I'd say sometimes unrealistic budget, the expectations of it, and yeah, I agree that the thing that I love so much about the show is they'll come on and they'll be so adamant of what they want. This is exactly what we want. We don't want this. We do want this. We don't want that. And so you go, okay. Now, obviously, as a TV show, we want to be able to offer a variety. We want to show the viewer, as well as them, we want to show the viewer a selection of things. Because if everything's the same, it's boring for the viewer, right? And actually, it makes it more interesting for the house hunters as well, I think, because you make them think outside the box. And the amount of times that I've filmed with people and then they get to the end and they put an offer in on something that they never in a million years were going to go for is great, because you just go, well, there you go. You don't have your mind so set on something. But then obviously you get other people that come on and they go, we really have no idea, this is our budget, just show us whatever. And that can go one of two ways. They might be like, oh wow, this is amazing, or they might just be like, no, none of these are for us. And we have this saying when we're filming, you can never second guess our house hunters. So we're always like, we just don't know. And I often feel like putting myself in their position and think it actually must be really hard, because the filming process throughout the week, we tell them nothing. We don't tell them where they're going. They literally, will come in the car. We'll say we're in this rough area, but we don't tell them anything until we get there. Then when we get there, obviously, we give them all the information they need and we'll show them around, but not until we've done it on camera. So the whole time they're just kind of like, where are we going now? What's happening? What's that? And sometimes they go, can you just tell us, Laura? And I'm like, no, can't tell you where we're going, what we're doing. It's all a surprise. And so sometimes I just think, wow, it's quite hard, but at the same time it's quite exciting. And there are some people that say, this is brilliant because we're coming away and we're just in your hands and we're just going with the flow. And they don't have to think about things.
Because I have seen property hunters that have never actually visited the country before, on the programme, and you kind of think, wow, you know, but it often turns out well, and they fall in love with a place, and they don't even worry that they haven't seen much else.
I've had a couple that had never been to Spain before, and they bought a property in Spain. And like you, I was like, wow. I mean, not I was just surprised that they'd never been to Spain, because I just think, wow, so Spain's like the most visited place. How come you've not been here? And also, how did you come to decide that this is where you want to buy? And I've got to say, a lot of people watch A Place in the Sun, and they'll say, well, you know, we watched the
Watching
show,
the
we made
program.
decisions based on what we've seen and what you've covered. So we must be doing right somewhere.
We're all armchair travellers at the moment. And then you've also been
Place to be watching right now, isn't it? Perfect escapism, just what everyone wants.
you've got a captive audience. And what about you've done episodes in the Costa Blanca, Denia and Torrevieja, two very different areas, I think.
Mm.
You get more for your money down there, don't you?
Not well. I'd say Denia Javier is definitely more expensive than Torrevieja, and
Yeah.
since joining the show 8 years ago, the area around Torrevieja has changed enormously as well. I joined the show when we were just coming out of like the economic downturn or whatever. Who knows what property price is going to be like after this? But I joined then, and as we were coming out of it, I could see the place improving and more money being spent on parklands. And now when I go back there, the way it's transformed is quite amazing. So you'll get more for your money around the Torrevieja area compared to Denia, Javier. Murcia seems to be a popular place for people and offers great value for money. And I talk about Murcia quite a lot. They opened Corvera Airport, the new airport, after however many years of threatening to open it. And I love flying into Murcia Airport over Alicante, because I find it just quicker to get out of the airport, pick up my hire car and go. I mean, Alicante Airport is fantastic, but in the peak summer months, it can be mobbed. And so I shouldn't really be saying this and giving away all my secrets of how to travel quickly. Everyone will be going to Corvera Airport now.
They'll be very happy with you. What about, because people keep asking me, you've just mentioned the global economic crises, and you were obviously very involved with the property market then, and people keep saying to me, is it going to be, a price is going to fall like they did in Spain then? But I'm not convinced, because Spain's in a very different place, and the banks haven't been lending like crazy. The market is just a lot more healthy. Do you agree with that?
I would definitely agree. I mean, as I said before, it was quite buoyant out there, and properties that are priced correctly are selling. And I've been in a situation a number of times on the show where we have lined up the properties to show the house hunters over the course of the week, and we get to day 2 and one of them sold, and we've got to change everything up again. And that hasn't happened just once, that's happened a number of times. And I just think that never used to happen. And when I joined the show, we would show in the mix, there would be like the odd bank repossession. I can't even remember the last time I showed a bank repossession. Yes, they're still around, but nowhere near as many as there were. And also, when I've been back to film around Estepona, I was in Estepona last August filming, and I went to a few new build properties, had my done my hard hat, and incredible, like the building work that started again. And I think they would have learn, and I think people are going to want to be buying properties abroad. So I don't think property prices, they might fall maybe a little bit, but I can't see it being anywhere near like it was.
So yeah, you mentioned Estepona, that's very near where your home is. Tell me, why did you choose that area of of Spain and the Costa Blanca?
I can't take complete credit. It's like a family home. So there's a number of us obviously that use it, and it's as I said before, it offers the best of both worlds. You've got the skiing, so you've got the mountains, the Sierra Nevada, you've got the coast. It's 40 minutes from Malaga Airport. We've also got Gibraltar Airport, which is just maybe an hour and 10 minutes. Somewhere I took the children not that long ago up to the Rock of Gibraltar to see the monkeys. Alex and I, pre-children, we got on the ferry over from Tarifa over to Tangier in Morocco. It's just so accessible to a lot of places. It is on the pricey side, and sometimes I do say to Alex, when you look at going out into eating out in the restaurants, and you know what you pay for a glass of wine, it frustrates me quite a lot how you can go half an hour the other side of Malaga Airport. It can be equally as beautiful, and the restaurants and the cost of living is a fraction of the price. And I think it's actually quite disgusting that, you know, it is that way. But so, you know, like I say, there are times when I kind of go, God, I'm begrudged kind of paying this here when I know we can go up there and do that. But unfortunately, it's the way it is. I suppose, you know, it's like going into London, isn't it? And you pay a premium for certain areas there, and you can come out and it can be just as good and a bit cheaper. So
it might not be like that now. We will see if London keeps.
Exactly. Well, I hope it's not.
But like me, you're a big skier. I saw you skiing in the Sierra Nevada this winter. You were once thinking of buying a property in the French Alps. Have you given up on that? And would you, because you just love Spain?
No, so what happened with the property in the French Alps, I actually put an offer in on somewhere. I filmed in Morzine, and it was about 4 years ago. And I filmed in Morzine, having never been to, I've obviously been to France a lot, but never been to Morzine before, and was there in the summer months. And it's somewhere the Tour de France goes through. So, you know, if you're into cycling, it's great. It's got some wonderful summer activities there, but then obviously has the skiing as well. So I was there in August, and I was showing a couple properties, and I just thought, this place is great. It's got a real buzz about it. And my afternoon off, I just went to have a look at in some estate agent windows, just because I do. I love, you know, love property and what the house hunters were looking for. We were kind of like, oh, should we make any changes to what we're showing them? And when we do make changes, I can get involved in that. So there was a property that was a chalet that was within, I don't know, about 500 meters walking distance of one of the main lifts. It was a renovation project. And I thought, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. And I want to put an offer in on it. So I put an offer in on this property after I'd finished filming with the house hunters. And I came home, and flights, it was so quick to get there, because it's into Geneva. It's like an hour, and you're home from the flight. And I live 15 minutes from Gatwick. I walked through the door and I said to Alex, how do you fancy buying and the offer was accepted, by the way, how do you fancy buying a ski chalet in Morzine? And Alex went to me, what? Are you nuts? What do you mean? Like, you know, but that kind of happened with this house that we're sat in right now. When we moved, I went and looked at properties, and I came into this house and I said, this is it, yeah, this is the one we're buying. And then I phoned Alex up and I said, oh, by the way, you need to come and look at this house, because I found a house and, you know, we're buying it. So anyway, he said to me, but, you know, I've not been to Morzine, I haven't seen it. What on earth, you know, I said, you've just got to trust me. You've just got to trust me. It's unreal. And he just said, well, do you know what? For you to say that, given the amount that you travel and the places you see, it's got to be special, because, you know, there's no way you would do that. So we had to obviously go away, talk about finances and stuff. And Alex was like, right, well, we better arrange to fly out there, you know, in the next few days if this is what we're doing. And we had to move quickly, you know, talking about finances. So I sat down with our financial advisor, and said, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to raise, how are we going to do it? Because I'm a bit like that. I'm a bit like, oh, well, we'll make it happen. It will just happen. And he said to us, guys, I think it's a bit too risky, because I wanted to take money out of our mortgage to buy it. He sort of said, I think it's a bit too risky, you doing this right now, taking the money out of your current mortgage, the penalties, the blah, blah, blah. And I was like, so we can't do it then? And he said, you know, my personal advice is not right now at that price. So I felt like, oh, I'm so annoyed. So I said to the agent, look, okay, we're going to put this on hold for now. And then 2 weeks later, Lord Roberts on the Green, which is our coffee shop, restaurant and deli project, came up, and our sort of attentions were diverted, well, our priorities were diverted from buying the ski chalet in Morzine to setting up a business here, which obviously I can't regret, because what we've done is fantastic, and I love the fact that we've got this, you know, other business, and there was a massive renovation project and development with it, but it wasn't in Morzine. And the annoying thing was, our financial advisor went back to visit Morzine, thought it was really amazing, and bought himself an apartment over there. So I was like, that's a lot. But he did say, it's all right, you can go and stay at it whenever you want, because I feel like you've shown me this great place.
The one, definitely.
And
Yeah.
we did go there. So, you know, I don't actually know what happened. I'm pretty sure the property would have got snapped up and developed, you know, no shadow of doubt, because it was great. So one day when I've finished making coffees and delivering fruit and veg to the community, Liz, which is what I now do.
But yeah, there's going to be a lot of people who are stuck inside for 4 months. They'd hoped to buy a property abroad this summer, you know, before the end of the year. They're going to have to hit the ground running when they finally get a flight out in August or whenever. Can you offer people any tips to really sort of crystallize, you know, what they want when they're looking for their ideal home?
Well, I think, you know, the situation that we're in right now, you're able to watch the episodes of A Place in the Sun, so it will give you a good idea of locations and where you might want to buy. Try and narrow down, because some people, when I meet them at the exhibition, they'll say to me, oh, Portugal or Spain. I'm like, that's a decision that you really need to make for yourself. You know, what is it you need to go, you do need to go there, you need to explore. Whilst you can't explore, try and watch the episodes that, you know, we're screening, if any of those destinations are featured. Think about your plans for how you want to use the property. The question that I commonly get asked is, what about buying on a golf development? Do you think that's a good place to buy? And I always say, well, do you know what? If you're thinking of letting your property out in the winter months, obviously if you're a keen golfer, then yeah, great. But if you're thinking of letting your property out in the winter months, there could be a bigger appeal to properties that are based on golf resorts, because that's when the golfers go and rent them out. And then in the summer months, not everyone wants to be close to the beach, but you know, some of these golf complexes aren't that far away from the beach anyway. So think about how you know you're going to use it. I would say that as and when people can travel, or even if you can do a bit of research online, one of the most important things is considering what a destination is like year round, because people always say, oh, we want to use it in the winter months and then we're going to let it out in the summer months. And I just want people to really know what a destination is like in the winter months, because even where we are in Spain is a very different way of life in the winter to in the summer. The supermarkets will close certain times of the day, whereas in the summer it's, you know, open all hours. You can access them whenever you want. The restaurants are open. There's a lot of life all the time. Yet in the winter months, there might be certain destinations where it's not ghost town, but you know, it really does close down. An awful lot of people might be kind of used to everything's being quiet after this situation. But you know, you do want places to be able to go to in the winter months, and you just want to be sure that where you buy does still have places open. I mean, for example, a country like Menorca and Ibiza, they really are so quiet, so different in the summer months to the winter months. So just think very carefully about that.
That is a good point. I've got a question actually from Rob Butler. Hi Laura, any tips on how do you know you are getting good value for money when you're buying?
Any tips on how you're getting good value for money? Well, you
Is it
coming on the
research?
show, or are you just coming on the show, or are you doing it yourself? I mean, you can always look online. You can do it in the UK as well, and see if there are any comparable properties that have sold on the complex, uh, the one that you're looking to buy, and see how, you know, most recently, and see how they compare price wise. Also, it's not a bad thing if you are talking about buying in a complex. I mean, obviously, we're talking somewhere remote, then it'll be a little bit harder. But if you've got neighbours and people nearby, talk to them, ask them, you know, what are properties, how often do people move around here? We do that, you know, with the house hunters that come on the show. They often meet the neighbours, they'll often talk to people and find out, well, how do they use the property? Do people let them out to, you know, everyone, or are they frequented by people that own them personally as holiday homes? So yeah, I would just say, look online, see if you can find comparable prices, anything for sale. I would
Yeah.
also say that when it comes to buying a property in Spain, we might talk about Spain because there's 70% of people willing to buy there, that it works very differently to selling a property in the UK, in that you'll have usually in the UK an exclusive agent. Okay, sometimes there might be agents that are doing split commission, but it's never more than two. Whereas in somewhere like Spain, you can often have the same property listed by a number of agents, and it's always worth just double checking and double checking again that the property, because the agents can list the properties at different prices, and what might happen is, say I was selling property, I might say to one agent, you know what, I want £150,000 for my property. But another agent might say, yeah, do you know what, we know we want 150, and one agent will go, right, I'll put it on for bang for what you want it on for, because that's what you're going to take. You're not going to take any offers, that's what you want. Another agent might say, well, I know I want 150, but actually I'm going to put it on for 200 and we'll see what we get. We've been in a situation where we'd missed seeing a property on a cheaper price, but knew the lowest they would go was 150. So we secured the property for 150, but showed it the agent that was putting it on for 200. Am I making sense here? So, which then made the person think, oh, but if you'd have showed it to me for the 150,000 price, you could have got it for less. But that wasn't the case. That was the bottom line that the person wanted to go to. But there was just another agent that was trying their luck to try and get more money. So it's just, that's where I'd say, really, you know, having us to kind of scour the market, and obviously it's a massive benefit. But yeah, just be mindful of that, checking out other agents. I feel like I'm waffling on a bit with the answer to that question.
No, that's great. We're having a lot of questions actually about people who want to be on the show. They're asking,
Any of them.
yeah, with people at a lady's asking about Costa Rica, but you're not. I don't think you're doing any in Costa Rica, are you?
I haven't been to Costa Rica. I would love to go to Costa Rica. I think we've done maybe
You've
4
done
or
some in
5.
the past,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
series.
I've just I've never personally been there. I would love to go. I've heard amazing things. I've heard that it's not only is it excellent value for money, but it's just an absolutely stunning place to go to. But you have got to question, how easily accessible will it be if you're going to frequent it as a holiday? I mean, to be going somewhere like that, you've got to be using it for months, weeks. You can't just be flicking there for the weekend, can you? So.
I know. British Airways started flying there direct about a year ago, but who knows now. Which places are we going to see which places did you film in that we're going to see? We should look out on the TV for you.
I've been filming in Estepona, Mijas, Murcia. I've been filming around Granada. I filmed in Tenerife, Gran Canaria. Where else have I been? France. did some in Brittany, did some around Carcassonne. I'm trying to think where else I've been. Mallorca. I always like going to Mallorca.
Me
and
too.
I don't know if my Menorca episode's been on yet. But yeah, I did but in the next 4 weeks, I think my episodes that are going out are probably mainland Spain.
Sure. And with the people asking to be on the show, I think normally we'd have at Place in the Sun Olympia, there'd be a chance for them to sign up to be on the show, but of course we're not running the show, so there should be details on our website for them to sign up and become a property hunter.
Isn't normally it's placeinthesun.com /take part? Is that still
possibly, or property hunters? We'll make sure that that's out there. I've got another question from Richard Foster. Why is the wind always blowing when you film?
Oh gosh. Well, that's the bane of our lives, right? The wind and the strimmer. Guaranteed. It'll be deadly silent, and then all of a sudden there'll be somebody that decides to start strimming their garden or blowing some leaves. Or I've been to like the quietest, most remote villages in France, and then someone will decide to start remarking all the road lines, and you're like, are you serious? Is this for real? Like, someone got candid camera somewhere. So yeah, that always happens, and unfortunately, we can't control the weather. If we were in a studio and it was green screen, then yes, we'd all look perfect, prim, but that's not the reality. Sometimes shows that I filmed, like peak summer, I think, oh my word, my makeup must be melting off my face. It's like 38 degrees and it's so hot. But that's we're outside, filming outside on location, and we're dealing with the elements.
I'm sure you'd take a bit of that right now, in maybe after last few weeks.
I do love the heat, absolutely. When we film in parts of Spain when it's slightly nippier, and I always think, because we wear the same outfit, have to wear the same outfit for continuity reasons for the week. We can obviously wash it and have 2 of it, so we change or whatever. But you wear an outfit on a Monday because you think, oh yeah, it looks quite warm out there, and then you put it on, you get outside, and you're like, oh my word, it's freezing. And then the second day it's even colder, and you're like, damn, I can't change my clothes now. And so yeah, so I do prefer to be filming in the summer months.
Brilliant. And we've got more questions.
We've just got the email link through, that if people do want to apply, it's a placeinthesun.com /TV-show, and then /appear-on-the-TV-show. Wow.
Brilliant. Okay. I've got a few more questions about Mijas Costa. Is it possible to get a 3-bedroom in Mijas Costa? They seem to be few and far between. The market seems to cater for 2 beds. That's from Susan Bowen. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the properties are 3 beds is an interesting one, isn't it? It's more family orientated, but I guess they build for couples. What do you think?
I mean, they are out there. You might have to compromise and go slightly further up the coast or a little bit more inland, but you will find them. But the most popular type of property is 2 beds, 2 bath, close to the beach, or sea view. So
yeah,
and also the reason for that is they are usually the ones that people want to rent.
Yeah, I think they rent really well, don't they? Chris Chadwick is saying, love the shows featuring the Mar Minor. Is it too quiet or up and coming? Well, I think we've got a few things coming up on that, and we've got another webinar on that next week. So, but what's your, haven't you?
I have been to the Mar Minor, and I would say that in the winter months it is one of the places that does get quieter. So just be mindful of that. However, there are a number of golf courses around there, so again, it just depends where you pick your location. But there are certain towns on the Mar Minor that I have been to in the winter months, a place called Los Alcázares, and that can become very, very quiet, and you might like that. So, you know, it just all depends on what you want, but you should just be aware.
Yeah, sure. Gosh, we've got lots and lots of questions. You're very popular. I'm not sure we're going to get through them all.
That's nice. Thank you everyone for watching.
Lots about different budgets in different places. Gosh, John is looking for, with a budget of 300,000 euros. He wants a 3-bedroom place in Andalusia, near amenities and no more than 15 minutes from the coast. Do you know the area, sort of the area?
It's really interesting hearing you say talking in 300,000 euros, because obviously when we do the show we talk in pounds, and then we put our conversion on it at the end, and we have to always set the exchange rate at the start of the week, which might, you know, fluctuate. So I actually like the idea of talking in euros. I think it would make everyone's lives a bit more easier if we did that in euros, and when we come to putting offers in, it would be quite make life a little bit easier as well. But a budget of 300,000 euros, I don't know what that even converts to as pounds right now. This is the thing, because I always work in pounds in my head.
I think the rate is not great. I think we were at a 3-week low this week. But I mean, if we're pound for euro, roughly, £300,000.
A 3-bed place.
Yeah.
In Andalusia.
15 minutes behind the coast, though.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, 3 beds. I'm just thinking, you know, up towards Fuengirola that way, perhaps. Looking a little bit inland.
I mean, there's some lovely villages. I think it's more than a quarter of an hour though behind. You know, if you go up into Andalusia, into the slightly into the hills, you can get some very cheap village houses. But I mean, that's maybe half an hour.
Well, also the accessibility. You know, you're saying you want to be 15 minutes inland or whatever. Of course, there will be properties out there for that price, but sometimes, you know, the compromise we have to make would be like up a really steep hill, or there won't be any areas for parking. So you do have to, I mean, it's very, very difficult if somebody just says, oh, I've got a budget of 300,000, where do I want to be? It's almost I need a bit more than that. I need to, you know, what are the priorities? Where would you compromise? I mean, you've seen the show, how it works, how we will interview and say, like, you don't obviously see all of it, but you know, we do have to get into the nitty-gritty. Where would you be willing to compromise? Do you need parking? You know, do you need to be able to walk easily to places? What about if it's up high? You know, so it's quite a difficult question.
Yeah, I think we've got, again, some more webinars coming up that we focus on southern Spain, so that might be useful. There's a final question I think we've got time for. Someone after your own heart, Laura. Samantha says, love the heat. Where is the warmest place to be in the winter? Happy to be about 1 or 2 hours inland. I'm not sure if she's referring to Spain.
Right. So again, I've actually been in Spain on New Year's Day in a t-shirt like this on the beach, and it's been 18 degrees. I've been in Spain on other New Year's days and on the Costa del Sol, and it's not been 18 degrees. It's been chilly and I've had a coat on. So I think what you've got to be aware of with mainland Spain is that you can experience those temperatures in the winter months, but it's a little bit more unpredictable. So actually, if you want a bit more guaranteed, but even then it's not always entirely guaranteed. Somewhere like the Canary Islands, I've been, you know, Christmas, 3 days before Christmas, 24 degrees on the beach. So I'm talking Tenerife, and that was amazing. So, but that's not mainland Spain. So I'd say for a short haul flight, Canary Islands are always a good shout for some winter sun. But then mainland Spain can be too.
Yeah, I think some people don't realise that, as you say, you go inland up the mountains a bit and it gets a bit cold, and you're skiing there in the winter. So yeah.
Oh, you definitely can't go in. You definitely can't go inland in mainland Spain in winter. You have to stay at the coast.
And so to finalise, we've just got a message from Gary Taylor saying he got a 3-bedroom house in Cala de Mijas for €294,000. So they do exist, and that's a good benchmark. So I think we've.
Well done, you.
Just before we go, Laura, what else have you been doing that people can look out for? Have you been doing any other? Well, not much at the moment, but have you been doing any other filming that was being put on ice or anything else?
So I actually I filmed an episode of Pointless, Celebrity Pointless, which hasn't been on air yet, but hopefully will be on air quite soon, which was quite different and quite fun. Obviously, I hadn't got any other plans to do any other filming throughout the rest of this year because I was heavily tied into doing lots for A Place in the Sun. So, you know, I've been quite busy developing some TV ideas of my own, and you know, I always do that anyway. We're very busy with the shop. I'm not going to lie, I'm looking forward to when schools potentially open again, because like a lot of parents, homeschooling is not my favourite job in the world. But you know, I hope the kids are going to want to go back to school. That's the problem, because they've loved being at home, and there's part of me that thinks, I mean, my two fall in reception in year 1, so I'm well, if they do go back, I'm in that category where both of them will be going, but they'll only be going back for a few weeks, and then it's summer holidays. So there's part of me that sort of think, is it really worth it? You know, we've come this far. Should I just, you know? But then I'm thinking, actually, no, it is worth it.
And what about your flying lessons? They've been on hold as well.
Oh yeah, my flying lessons. Well, I've got a lot of theory to do with my flying. So yeah, I can't even take the exams because I have to go to the aviation centre to be able to take them. But yeah, it's all paused until it reopens. I mean, again, Simon, my flying instructor, is actually a BA pilot, and he's obviously furloughed at the moment through BA, and I don't even know how I will be able to start my lessons or how long it will be, because what I'm learning in is a Cessna 152. It's a tiny plane, and you know, you literally sit here next to each other, so you know, you can't. I can't imagine still going up with masks, you know.
Yeah, no, it's tough for driving instructors, flying instructors. Yeah. So well, look, we've got to finish there, but there's lots of that people should look out for your episodes in the next week or 2-3 weeks. We've got lots of resources on aplaceinthesun.com, a buying guide to Spain. You can find a lawyer, find currency specialists, our own currency specialists, all sorts of useful resources and guides to areas of Spain. So thank you, Laura, and good luck with the rest of lockdown.
We are going to be doing the exhibition. Will be back, because I love it. I love it when we get to meet people face to face, and you know, it's always good. But we'll be back. It's just a little blip.
Yeah, well, we can't wait to get back on an aeroplane, can we? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.